Hello, welcome to the Lululoves Crochet Podcast, episode 8. My name is Emma and this is my podcast about crochet, yarn, books and anything else I fancy talking about really. I hope you're all well and that January is being kind to you. It is a completely miserable day today in the southwest of England. Hailstones, wind, rain, you name it, we've got it. So I will, actually the first thing I'll talk to you about today is the socks that I showed in my last podcast. They were the, Simmerdei socks by BIANCA BOONSTRA. I feel bad because the pattern is only available, it turns out, in the copy of Inside Crochet magazine. I've had lots of requests from people as to where they can find the pattern. So I apologise for that. You can only get it in the Inside Crochet magazine. I think it was issue 51. I'll put the details below. So yes, sorry about that. You can buy back issues of Inside Crochet if you really want to get hold of it. But the other thing to note was that I said that I had struggled with reading the pattern around the heel. And when I was looking for the pattern, I noticed on the Ravelry page that there was some errata for the heel. So if you do have the magazine and you do want to make them, it might be worth checking out the pattern on Ravelry first. So, but anyway, I will jump straight in with my first finished object, and I think you might be able to guess what it is. It is my Lost in Time shawl. It's finished all the way. It's stunning. Got it round the wrong way. There we go. So I finally hit that. I think I was about here last time. I'd gone on to the pink and then this lovely sort of peachy colour right through to this lovely pink. I'm really, really, really pleased with that, and I have been wearing it so far just as a scarf really, but I can't wait for the summer when I can drape it elegantly around my shoulders and enjoy it. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. The yarn I've mentioned many times before, it's the SCHEEPJES WHIRL in Watermelon Hellraiser. Oh, it's so hard to show you. Oh, look at that. It's stunning. I'm really so happy that I persevered through the darker yarn because the results are just beautiful. And I'm thinking I might even like to make another one really in a different colourway. Lovely, it's beautiful. It's got really lovely drape. I used a 4mm crochet hook with that. The only thing I didn't do was I didn't put on the border, and the main reason for that was this was all I had left. I think the border was a couple of rows, and I think I would have had enough yarn to do a couple of those rows but not finish it completely, so I just left it off. So got a little bit left. Not sure what I'll do with that really, but I pretty much hit the colours that I was after, so I'm not too worried. But yes, that's beautiful. So I'll try and get some more pictures of that. I did I did try and take a selfie wearing it, but I absolutely hate having my photos taken, so they are a bit awkward. But I did put one up on my Instagram. So that's the first thing I finished. I'm really, really pleased with that. Loved the pattern, and I'm really, really happy with the results. Next, I finished. It was a project really born out of a need. I was talking to one of the mums on the school run, and she had this lovely fur sort of headband, and I was saying that I don't really like to wear hats. I do make quite a lot of them, but because I wear my hair up a lot, they're really impractical for me. So I wanted something that I could just sort of pop over my head to, when I take Ted for a walk, my ears get cold. So I had to play around with some yarn and some stitch patterns, and I started with some of that Rico chunky yarn I had left from the V-stitch cowl I made. I'm not even sure if this is up the right way. So I started making something up. Now, I love this stitch pattern. It's a cabled pattern, but I wasn't really happy with it as a headband. So I moved on to something a bit thinner. So I ended up using the James Brett marble DK that I'd bought to swatch for the poncho I wanted to make. It's beautiful. It turned out so well. So look, that's the yarn. So you can see the different colours coming up into it. And then this is the headband. So all I've done is I've crocheted a rectangle of material that was as wide as I wanted to cover my ears, obviously, and was long enough that would go around my head. Then I've just stitched it up in the middle and the seam is hidden. And then I've crocheted another piece of fabric which was the same length as the width of this headband. Oh, I've still got an end. And wrapped it round, and I love it. So that's been really good. Also, it's really helps me keep my headphones in when I'm listening to my music on the old dog walk. So really pleased with that. That's just a really quick pretty make. I might do a little how-to on my blog for these because they're so simple. Although you can find patterns for these all over the internet, I'm sure. But the nice thing about them is you get to practice, stitch different stitches with them. And the two stitches that I used, both the cable stitch and the stitch for this one, were from this Japanese stitch book that I've had for a long, long time. I think I bought it on Etsy many years ago now, but they it's a really, really useful book actually. I've used it quite a lot. So there's the cable one, and you can see they're just diagrams. So that's that one I tried. And then the one I actually ended up using is it here? Yes, it's here. So it's just a really simple pattern. It's just double crochets, chain 2 double crochet into the same stitch, and then you skip 2 stitches and then just repeat, and you get this lovely, I don't think you can see it, lovely pattern like that. So that's that. It was really really fun to make that up. You can't really see the stitch pattern in it, I don't think, but it does give it this almost like a bit of a ribbed effect. So yes, fancy. I feel a bit retro. There we go. Anyway, I've been loving that. So that was a project really born out of necessity. Wow, or wanties. Oh, I didn't mention that the reason that I'm filming in a different place today, I'm in the living room, is because during the last podcast I noticed there was a squeaking noise and it was driving me insane because I couldn't figure out where it was coming from, and it turns out it was coming from the table. As I was moving, the table was squeaking, And that's because we've got a different table in there at the moment, because we had a bit of a furniture move around for Christmas, you know, to fit everyone in. So I've not got around to putting all the furniture back. So I hope this is okay for you. It's quite nice to have a change though, isn't it? And what else have I got to show you? I feel a bit disorientated though, because everything is not how I normally lay it out, so bear with me. The other thing I did is I bought this pom pom yarn. Not sure of the name. I saw it on a really lovely Instagram feed, and if I can find the name of the account, I'll put it up below. And she had used it bordering a blanket, and I just really loved the effect. So I thought, I'm going to treat myself to some of that. And it's from Loop London, or is it Loop London or Loop of London? You can get it on their website. Really, really gorgeous. Now, when it came, I was desperate to try something with it. So I had a little think, and well, you know, February's coming up, so I made up one of my skinny hearts. And this is a pattern this is a free pattern on my blog. It's years old now, and I haven't made one for a very long time. So I used it. So I made one up following the pattern, and then I just used it to edge the heart. And I really, really love the effect. I love these skinny hearts as well. I'm not sure that's a very politically correct name for them, but one of the peaks is slightly bigger than the other one. And they were inspired when my daughter was going through her Charlie and Lola phase. Charlie and Lola is a British cartoon, and she adored it. So, and they have all these lovely hearts and really, really beautiful cartoon and books. The author is Lauren Child. So they were inspired by that, and yes, I've just made one up today. Well, not today, but a couple of days ago. And edged it with that pom pom yarn. It's a little bit tricky to work with because it's very fine. The cat's meowing. Can't find the end of it now, but it has these. Oh, here it is. There we go. Can you see that? So it just looks like that. So as you're sort of working it, you can move these little pom-poms, I found, just a little bit to get them through your stitches. So it is a little bit tricky, but it still gives a really, really beautiful effect. So I really love that, and I definitely, there's a lot of it there. I'm not sure where I've put the label, but I'll have a look. But there's quite a lot there, so you could definitely easily edge a blanket with that, I think. Yeah, really, really pleased with that. So that is my skinny heart. I think I might make some more of these for Valentine's Day and dot them about. Oh, and the yarn is also really lovely. That is Cascade 220. I can't remember the shade. I'll put it below. But look at this lovely, it's sort of heather colour. It really is beautiful. Almost looks like a hand dyed yarn. I really, really like that. So I've used that on a couple of little projects recently. So I love that. So that was a little quick make. And I think that's about it for finished projects, really. I really wanted to get the shawl finished, so I spent a lot of my crochet time doing that, and just a few quick projects over the weekends, really. And that's about it. And I was looking for another. I felt a bit lost once I'd finished my shawl. Does anyone else do that? So I was crocheting all these little projects, and I was thinking, I've got a few ideas of for projects for myself, design projects. So I sort of started, and I don't know, I really was missing, I was missing my shawl. So I was on Instagram, and I saw a beautiful jumper, added it to my wish list. It was called the Goldenrod jumper, and I think the designer, or the Instagram account of the designer, is called 11 Handmade, and I'd favorited it and thought, right, well, I will make that. But I had a little look at the pattern, and it called for fingering weight yarn, and that is not a yarn that I really have a lot of at home. I tend to work more with Aran weight yarn, so I didn't have any yarn at hand to start it with, so I just sort of left it in the back of my mind. But like I said, I was really, after I finished the shawl, I was really itching to get into another bigger project. And then I saw on the, I think it's the Crochet Boxes website, she had started one of the Goldenrod jumpers, and it looked beautiful, and I just thought, right, that's it. I can't wait any longer. So I popped to my local yarn shop and bought some fingering weight yarn so that I could start the jumper. And the yarn I picked, there wasn't very much choice, but I picked this Shawl Woolrich Heritage 4-ply. There you go, and the shade is 148. It's this lovely dusky pink colour. I'm not sure it's a colour that suits me terribly, but I'm just always drawn to these dusky pinks. So I bought, I think I bought about 5 of these to get started on the jumper, and I'd bought the patterns, so you can get, I think, I'm not sure where I bought it on Ravelry, but I'm sure that it's up for sale on other sites as well. Anyway, so I've made a start on my Goldenrod jumper, and it looks like this so far. So it's worked from the top down, so you create this beautiful yoke, and as yet I've not hit any sizing differences, so it's just, so far it's just been one pattern, you know, following the pattern. Oh gosh, it looks beautiful, doesn't it? I'm so excited to finish this one. And the pattern is made up of these lovely puff stitches that spread out. Here we go. And actually the yarn is nice as well. It's 55% wool, 25% acrylic and 20% nylon. So I guess you could use that for socks as well. It's beautiful. I'm really excited, and the pattern itself had been designed in a lovely sort of rust colour that was beautiful, and the one I saw on the Crochet Boxes website was in a lovely mustard colour. But again, I've said this before, I love those colours, but I don't tend to wear them, so I really wanted to make it in something a bit more neutral that I would wear. But so far I can already tell I'm in love with this pattern. So I think this is what I'm going to be working on most over the next couple of weeks. Absolutely stunning. So I'm really, really pleased that I've got my teeth into another pattern, and such a beautiful one as well. And the nice thing about it is, for me, is I wanted to make more jumpers and more clothing, and I do find it quite hard to find crochet patterns. I mean, I see beautiful patterns all the time for knitted cardigans and jumpers, but you don't, or I haven't come across many crochet jumpers and cardigans that I would like to wear. And the ones that I do come across quite often are chunky knits, and they're lovely. You know, I don't have nothing against a nice chunky knit, but it's nice to work with something a bit more delicate, I think. So I'm really, really excited to finish that. So I will show you progress in the next podcast. And that is it for the crochet chat today. I've got some other things to show you. The first actually is, I did, because I enjoyed making the Simmerdei socks so much, I treated myself to some hand-dyed sock yarn. And I don't buy a lot of hand-dyed yarns, mainly because they're expensive and I think I would just go mad. But I did treat myself to this yarn from Cottage, and it's the first time I've ever bought anything from them. And it's beautiful. Look at that. Try and get as close. Again, it's a really lovely neutral colour. I was just really drawn to it. And it is Oakworth 4-ply in the colourway Sparrow. So isn't that beautiful? That arrived really quickly. I bought it, I think, from her Etsy shop, so I'll put the links below. So I intend to make myself another pair of crochet socks with this special yarn. So that's lovely, really. So that's lovely, really. Yes, so I'm really pleased to have a lovely skein of new yarn to play with. Yeah, and that's that. What else have I got to talk to you about? I will just tell you a bit about books and TV and that sort of good stuff. I'm still reading Tender as the Night. I haven't given up on it. And actually I'm enjoying it somewhat. It's not really a page turner, which I think is probably part of the problem, but I'm still reading it. But I have been dipping into the books that I showed you on the last podcast, the books that I bought for Christmas and got as gifts. And this week I flew through the V Monologues. I really enjoyed this, and I thought it would be just one of those books that was very humorous, and it is. It starts off quite light-hearted. The monologues are based on interviews with over 200 women. So they're from all different cultures and ages, and they are incredibly funny. Some of them are funny and relatable as well. Some of them are very relatable. So I love that. And then it has got in it, about halfway through, there's Spotlight monologues, and they are a lot more harrowing. They were written to spotlight an area where women have been victims of sexual or gender violence. So and yes, that was quite harrowing, but you know, I think something that really you need to read and be aware of. One of them that I had no idea about was the comfort women, the women that had been taken into sexual slavery during the Second World War, and that was really shocking. I just couldn't believe it. In fact, after I read the monologue, I did some research on it, and yes, I was very shocked that that went on and was allowed to go on, really. So I did learn something. They created a V-Day campaign to support women, and they have lots of events over the world to support and highlight the issues of women's sexual and gender violence. So that was really good. In fact, I'm going to give this one to my daughter to read, because I feel like that's a book that women should read. So I love that, and actually the statistics as well in it. I think it stated that 1 in 3 women worldwide will be victims of sexual or gender violence in their lifetime, and that's a really harrowing statistic. So yes, I flew through that and I enjoyed it, and I definitely would recommend it. The other thing I've been reading this week is a magazine. This is The Simple Things. I don't often buy this magazine, but I was drawn in by the Embracing Winter headline. I do struggle throughout winter. I don't like it when it's dark. I don't like being cold. I would quite happily hibernate throughout winter, I won't lie. Anyway, it had an article in it that really interested me. It was an article by Rachel Kelly. She suffered from depression and anxiety, and has had medication and that over the years. Anyway, she started looking into the relationship between the stomach and the mind, and worked with a nutritionist, and I think that she's got a cookbook. But it was really interesting because I've suffered with anxiety before, and I know that, like with my children, if they've got tests or anything that they're worried about at school, they often manifest stomach aches, real stomach aches, that real cramps that are sort of psychological, but the pain is real nonetheless. Anyway, there's a cut out and keep food, I don't think you'll be able to read that, mood food checklist, and really it's talking about fab mood foods, good foods, very good mood foods, good mood foods, treats and low mood foods. And obviously I think a lot of it is probably common sense. For example, foods that aren't so good are fizzy drinks, takeaways, canned foods, but a lot of low fat foods are on here as well. Low fat foods and energy foods, sugar-free foods, anything where they put a lot of additives. And the foods that they do mention are actually they look really tasty, and they've even got chocolate in here. I mean, it's dark chocolate. So I think that I'm going to try and incorporate more of these happy foods into my diet. I'm going to try and make a conscious effort to try and add more of these foods for my mood. So because I can quite easily devour half a packet of biscuits. I have no problem with that. So I'm going to try and eat more for my mood and my mind. And that's an interesting concept, I think. So I really enjoyed reading that, and I might actually buy her book. And the other bit I really liked about this magazine, and it's not one I buy very regularly at all really, is the miscellany page. Esther's got some really, really lovely fun facts in that. And there's a word here. Friolero? Non-translatable words. Friolero is Spanish, and it means a person particularly susceptible to cold temperatures. That is me. Why don't we have a British word for that? Because that sums me up completely. My friends all laugh. I hate the cold so much. And also, look, there's a sad animal fact here. If a wolf is kicked out of its pack, it never howls again. Is that true? Because if so, that's so sad. So yes, I that was a good read. I really enjoyed that, and I took some good things away from that. So I love that. Oh, here's a bit of a random favourite this month. My very, very favourite hand cream in the world is this L'Occitane shea butter. Is that how you say it? Shea butter. Dry skin hand cream. It looks like this. This is the hand cream that saved my hands about 4 or 5 years ago. I used to suffer really badly in the winter with dry skin, and then my fingers would split and cut and chap. And of course, when you're working with your hands with yarn, and it's so painful because the yarn would catch. Anyway, someone recommended this to me, and I've used it ever since. Only in the winter months because it's quite thick, and I never ever struggle with dry hands anymore. And I was so excited to see that they had teamed up with Rifle Paper, and they've got a special collaboration out with them. So they've some of their most popular products have had a little revamp. Isn't that lovely? And I know loads of you love rifle paper because I see it all over my Instagram, all their beautiful cards and stationery. So I treated myself to another one of these. I won't open it because this stuff lasts a long time. So this will probably last me for the rest of the year. But I couldn't help. So also L'Occitane don't test on animals. So that's really nice. So if you're looking for a hand cream, if you suffer in the winter like I've had, have a try of their shea butter. And if you go in at the moment, you might be able to get one of these lovely prints. They do smaller ones as well, but I get through them. So I just bought a big one. So that's a bit random, but beautiful. There's some beautiful stuff in there. And I think that's it really. I haven't really been watching much. I've been watching Silent Witnesses back on, so I love that. And Riverdale's back on Netflix, so my daughter and I have been watching that. And I did watch on Netflix as well. I think it's Marcella. It's got Anna Friel in it. It was on TV. I think maybe a year or so ago, maybe longer. I never got around to watching it, and I really liked that. She goes back to work as a detective after sort of raising her family. Her marriage breaks up, and she starts to suffer from sort of blackouts. So it makes for a really interesting watch, really. So I think there was about 7, maybe less, 6 or 7 episodes, and I really enjoyed that. And when I looked up, I think they're making another series of it this year, so I would definitely watch that. And that is about it. I feel like I've just talked so fast today, so I hope I haven't I hope I've made sense. That's what I'm trying to say. I hope you're all well and enjoying January, and I will be back in another couple of weeks with some updates. Maybe I will have started another pair of socks, and definitely will have some progress to show you on the jumper. So I will see you all again very soon. Take care. Bye.